So when I joined, and I joined in January of 2009, and my challenge was to design an IT strategy and implement that strategy, which would transform the way that CICA operated. It was very much a paper-based organization with manual processes, and there was a very strong drive from the chief executive and the board to move the organization to an electronic case management one. And that was very much my challenge. The first challenge was that there was a very strong desire that whatever solution we implemented, it would be one that we were fully in control of. There wasn't a desire to have a requirement to always go out to a third party whenever we wanted to make a change. We knew that the way that the organization worked, processes were always being improved, and therefore we wanted something that could be changed and managed internally within the organization. So some of the things that were important to us and some of those zero-code features that we used, firstly, SharePoint and HP Trim. As I mentioned briefly in the Q&A panel, the integration with these products was extremely easy to set up. From a technical perspective, it's a very short exercise to have total agility working with SharePoint and Trim. And out of the box, the functionality you get is that you can upload documents to any library, you can check in documents, check out documents, you can create folders, you can create sites, you can declare items as records. And all of this is done through little smart wizards without the need to have any code written. So it's very intuitive and very easy. Once you've done it once, that's it. You kind of know how to do it. But also, there's another great feature within the product around reacting to events within SharePoint and within Trim. And this is quite an important one for the touchless processing, where if a document is checked into a library within SharePoint, as an example, and you're monitoring that library, that can create an event that Total Agility reacts to. When it reacts to that event, it can interrogate that document, it can interrogate any of the metadata that's been associated with that document, and then run a business process that you have defined. And it was something, when I'll give a few examples later, it's a really key part of being able to integrate the content management with the business process. When you talk about dynamic case management, one of the big challenges, it's not just about the information coming in, it's that you have to write out, you have to be requesting information from different sources. We had police forces, medical authorities, as I've said. You also have to be communicating with customers, some of that, or applicants, sorry, some of that will be done over the phone, but there's also having to write out to them at different points. So we did have the need to generate documents. And within Total Agility, that's done using Word templates, which is a great solution. It was great for us because we could take those templates and give them to the part of the business responsible for making sure the content's correct. We signed contracts with Singularity at that time in August of 2009, and by October of that year we had our first application live, and that was to provide a new service to members of the public who wanted to apply over the telephone. And what we had built was a series of screens, really a wizard set of screens that would allow for an application to be taken over the phone. So depending on the answers that were given to the telephone operator would change the set of questions that would appear, the next set of questions. I think the next box that I've got up there, the case definition with fragments. Now this was a very important part of the selection and one of the key reasons why we went with the Total Agility product. Unlike some other products in the market, Total Agility's support for that dynamic case management is absolutely built into the plumbing. You know, it's absolutely core to how the product is engineered. And when you're working in an organization where you know it is case management, absolutely everything that's been said today about having processes that you know how it's going to start, you know what the outcomes are, but you don't necessarily know what the journey is in between. And for us, we were able to use the case definition and fragments. Now, fragment is a very important feature within Total Agility. It links to a case, and it's a process that can be executed during the life cycle of a case, but may not. An example could be a complaint, that you define a complaint process, and then at any time when that case is executing, someone could launch a complaint. The fragment will run. It doesn't need to be on the main process path, but it will be linked to the case. And within CICA, another key feature for us was that we had to make sure of information management. We were split into 6 different regions, and it was important that people in Region 1 weren't prompted to do work in Region 2 or so on, and that the information was restricted so that you could only see cases that related to your area of work. And within the tool, it's extremely straightforward to allocate work to teams. It's a drag and drop exercise. There's also advanced workflow rules we had through legislation. There's the ability for an applicant, if once the decision is made, to ask for a review, and that review would be completed within CICA. But the legislation stated that the review had to be completed by someone more senior, a different person than made the first decision. And the advanced workflow rules that are there on allocating tasks meant that that was an extremely straightforward thing to do. The email and alerts were very important to us, and I think quite an important part of a BPM system. The alerts functionality allows you to say, take any task and assign it a number of days or a duration. So if the task is due to take 30 days, traditionally what would happen is you would wait till the 30 days passes, task hasn't been complete, escalate. Using the features around alerts within Total Agility, you can put multiple escalations on, and not just after the task has failed. You can say after 20 days, if it hasn't been completed, then why not prompt the person it's been assigned to? If you get to 25 days and it's still not been completed, why not prompt their line manager? And then have a different escalation after it fails. And this was quite important to us to have alerts and automated alerts as well. Certainly for third-party organizations that we requested information, we could chase them up without having to have someone manually doing that, which was what happened previously. One of our key aims was to improve the efficiency within the mailroom, making sure that we were reducing the number of touch points, the human touches, as much as possible. Now, I said at the start, we started with Kofax Express, and that obviously worked well for us. As I was coming to the end of my time at CICA, we went through a selection process, went out to the market to look for an enterprise solution, and as it happened, we selected Kofax Capture for that, because that really, for us, had the best value offering of functionality cost. And with that, there's a further aim within CICA to continue to reduce those touch points and to do a lot of what's been said today, to get more out of the capture up front, to speed those processes through.